doing a lot of training the last 2 weeks and running on Mont Blanc, and I was expecting a little bit that maybe I'm a bit tired, and it was exactly like this. So it was a hard race, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's for training it's really good, because on races you go really 100%. I mean, in case of today, if I would be on my own, I would never push that hard because I feel tired. And when you're in a race, you push because there are other people, there are people behind, people in front. And I think it's a very important part of training, doing these races. I think if you don't do any races, you're limited in your endurance. For endurance training, it's the best training for going to the mountains. Of course, after you have to have the technical skills as well, but this is something I have, but I don't have the endurance skills, so that's why I have to work a lot on this. So I think it's super interesting. And for me, it's still a super nice game. I'm still very inspired from Kilian, and just to see how fast he can move on maybe non-technical terrain, and I think I can learn a lot still from training for myself. Kilian is Kilian. No, I think he's on first hand he's a runner, and he has some technical skills, and they're getting better and better. And of course he has a good mountain sense and everything. That's like, he cannot say he's just a runner. He's like a advanced runner for sure. And he tries to go more and more into technical climbing. But still he's limited on technical terrain. We can take the Eiger we climbed together. If we run to the base of the Eiger, maybe he would be almost an hour faster than me. And then when we're climbing the Eiger, I would be maybe more than an hour faster than him on the Eiger itself. I mean, he can run Mont Blanc and has the fastest time. I will never be able to do a record on the normal route on Mont Blanc. This is impossible for me. I'm not a good enough runner for this. So I run once, always wanted to do, running the normal route on Mont Blanc. I climbed in Nominata, and I also wanted to climb Red Pillar, but then I was too tired. So yeah, I did some good ascents from the valley. Kilian, he left in Courmayeur, and I left at the campground in Peuteret, which is I don't know, this is like 20 minutes difference. And then he went down to Chamonix, and I went back down to Torino, and back down to Italy. I think we should not compare that too much. But of course, for myself, I was looking on times on Kilian, and it's super interesting. We're back on this question, like where he is strong and where I am strong, and it's super interesting to see the split times of Kilian and me, and just to realize where is my potential compared to Kilian, and where I have to train more. Of course, for me, it's important the time of Kilian. I just want to see where I stand, because Kilian is, for me, he's one of the best runners and a really inspiring person, and I look up to him, and so I try to learn from him, and that's why I compare the times. But this is for me personally, and I think this is something who puts me further. It's a super nice project. I hope he can do it. I think that would be mind-blowing, like starting in base camp on the north side and just going in one push up and down. I think this is super nice idea. We talked about this, and I think it shows just the capacity of a human being, and I still believe in mountaineering. The most mountaineers, they're far behind of any performance. So I think there's so much more possible, and yeah, it's just the idea of going up simple, light, and up and down. Performance is an adventure. Like I did in Nominata, I did not prepare. I never climbed in Nominata before. So for me, it's kind of on an adventure because it's a lot of unknown which I have to deal with. So you have the adventure, but you want to find your own personal limits, and you want to get better. And this is my aspect of performance. But there is nothing wrong about people which they say, I don't care about how fast or how hard a route is, I just want to have a nice experience in the mountains. I think it's a different mindset. It's nothing wrong or right about it, you know. Like everybody has to choose their own way going to the mountains. And for me, I like the idea starting in Valley and running up to Mont Blanc and being back in the afternoon. I like that, and it's a lot of fun for me. So then it's good. So each person has to choose what he's looking for. Yeah, I started in Grindelwald. I climbed the whole ridge of the Mittelegi, so it means like Osteck, Mittelegi, descending to Eigerjoch, going up Mönch, East Ridge, descending West Ridge, the East Ridge of Jungfrau, and then descending to Stechelberg, back into the valley over the Rottal. It was a super nice traverse. Now I've done it 41 times. So I'm a little bit ahead. I'm getting 40 this year, so I have one Eiger climb on my bank account, which I can use when I have a year I don't climb the Eiger. It's not my mountain. We don't own any mountains because, you know, sooner or later we are human beings, we're gonna die, and the mountains, they will stay, so we cannot own them. But I'm really familiar with it, and I like him a lot. I'm more and more into you have to flow with ideas and with like conditions, and I mean that's why I climbed so many times here in the Mont Blanc last week, because it was just great conditions, and I knew I might gonna blow up those series, but you just have, it's something I really like, to have this freedom just to do what I want. And if there is a moment I think I want to go back to the Eiger and I feel it's a good moment to climb in maybe under 2 hours, you never know. Oh, we had such a great time together, and I think finally now I'm super happy to find a partner which, you know, with matches. It's really hard to find good partners for expeditions, and there are a lot of things, you know, they have to be matching. And with David we had such a great time, and he's training hard, and yeah, no, we were climbing a lot. Unfortunately we never got to the main summit, but basically we climbed the 2 routes, which was great, and we were moving a lot, so we really had an expedition of climbing and not sitting in base camp. Yeah, we had like super unstable weather, and even Carl told us he never saw so much humidity on the Tibetan plateau. And first we wanted to do a first ascent, but we knew like we need at least 3 days of good weather. If that's not gonna happen, we're not gonna try it. So if we have just short windows, we're deciding like, oh, we do some other routes, just climbing up and down for fun and for performance. And for me it was again a very important experience, because until now, this 1 day ascents I always did in very perfect conditions, and now I know also like Shishapangma South Face, I'm even able and capable to do it in a day with like trail breaking, and that's again an experience I have made, and will help me a lot for the future. Like if you want to go to Himalayas, it's a different training than go to the Eiger. So I think training is very important. You have to know what you want to do, and then you train for this and not for something else. Like if you want to go to Himalayas, you have to do a lot of long endurance. If you want to climb the Eiger, this is about 2 hours, so it's way shorter but more with a higher heart rate. If you want to do Himalaya, like doing doing Mont Blanc, I think it's really good training. So you can have like, you can take this project, climbing in Nominata or whatever, and build into the training for Himalaya, which will help a lot. In 2008, I free climbed the Eiger North face. I mean, this is super dangerous. You can do a couple of times, but sooner or later you're gonna do a mistake. And now in last year, I was also pulling the pitons like down the Arnold bit, so it's much more safe. So you can play a lot like this, you know. I changed a little bit my equipment as well. I was climbing with ice climbing shoes, which is much faster. It's basic, like a kilo more or less makes a huge difference. Like last week when I was climbing in Nominata, I didn't even bring a harness. I was like just almost naked. I was like a runner, like shoes and tights, shirt. I always bring a down jacket in any case, but yeah, climbing is always part of my training because I like it a lot and I like to keep my level as high as possible.